ladies and gentlemen. This is World Gospel Impact Church. Once again, we're coming to you live, and we are so excited to be here with you today. And we are tackling one of what I believe personally is the most important topic that young people should engage in and should talk about. But I'm not here by myself. I'm going to allow my panel to introduce themselves before we dive right into our topic for today. Let me start on my left and greet this gentleman right here. Please introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Nompumelelo. Thanks for having me here.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Tanya Zungu. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today.
You're
My
welcome.
name is Thomas Radebe. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today.
Welcome to all of you, and I am myself very excited to have you here today, and I can just see and feel that we're going to have an amazing discussion. So you sit back and relax, and I hope that you can also input into the discussion and the conversation we are having today by commenting, liking, and sharing this platform that you're catching us on today. Our topic for today really is mentorship. We want to tackle three things about mentorship. Want to tackle importance, want to tackle relevance, and then we want to tackle ability as well for mentors, mentees, and all of that. So the question is, what is mentorship? So if I was to take the definition from Google, I would say that mentorship is an ability of a leader or an experienced party to actually usher other people onto their environment that they are familiar with or that they are experienced with. Perhaps let me start with relevance and say, in this day and age where we are, where everybody claims to know everything and about everyone, is mentorship, Nompumelelo, really still relevant?
It definitely is, and I think because I've benefited from it a lot, it definitely does have a space today. It has taken different forms and shapes. We're not just mentored by a single human being, or a human being for that matter, but mentorship as a principle and as a concept still matters and is important.
All right, being the only lady in my panel, do you believe that mentorship is
I do. I believe it's important because as much what you said, that everyone thinks that they know everything about everything and everyone. So for that simple fact, because we all know that nobody knows everything. So for that reason alone, I think mentorship is still very much relevant and important, because people need to understand that there's no way that you can know everything about everything. You do need some guidance and help along the way.
Maybe Apostle Thomas, if I can just come to you and ask that, having confirmed from the other panel members that mentorship is still relevant, perhaps what is your understanding of mentorship? And if possible, give us an example of where mentorship has assisted you to where you are in life today.
Okay, look, maybe let's start from what mentorship is not. Because sometimes we think people don't accept things because they don't like them, but it's just that they don't understand them, or they understand them wrong. Because if things are wrongly defined, they will be badly received, you know. So it's very important that let's take out the corrupted meaning, of the word. Mentorship is not slavery.
Okay.
So if someone is enslaving somebody and they call it mentorship, so then the observers, they say, I don't want this thing in my life.
Yeah.
Number two, as a mentor, it doesn't mean that my footprint are your blueprint, you know. So my inspiration is not a standard, I am simply here to inspire you into your own life, not into my life. So I can say mentorship is like incubation.
Okay.
All
right.
In incubation, the mother chicken, the point is that she wants this egg to become a chicken one day.
Yes. Yeah.
So now then there's going to be opportunities aside, and there's going to be people who say, no, you need to come out, you need to come out. And when they say that, you are not going to end up a chicken. You'll just end up a boiled egg. So it's very important that you understand that you are incubated for maximizing your own potential for your own life. Not to be what I want you to be, but just to or to conserve you until you become what you are supposed to be.
Most definitely. I think for as long as I could remember, I've always had, you need a mentor, I want a mentor. And there's always been a throw around it, right up to a point where we even confuse it with role modeling and all of that. Who's your mentor or your role model? Then we start to say Oprah or something like that. Is there really some kind of guidance, firstly in age group? Who is supposed to seek for a mentor? Do they have to be a particular age? And who is supposed to be a mentee? Are they supposed to be a particular age as well?
I don't think it's governed by age. NgesiZulu kuthiwa, ubudala, I'm not going to say ubudala, I'll say ubudala bukhulelwe.
Okay.
So regardless of your age, you can be a mentor. And in recognizing that you need to be mentored, that's probably one of the first instances of you coming alive to wanting to be yourself. It could come by reading a book, it could come by seeing someone on television, it could come at any point. But the gist for me lies at when I am ready, when I feel like, hey, I need a light beyond me. I need to move past the ceiling that I'm at. I mean, John Maxwell says, leadership becomes a ceiling, or leaders who don't grow become a ceiling. It's the same with human beings. We also get to a point where we reach our ceiling, and you want to see beyond that ceiling. And that's when inside of you, you then realize, hey, maybe I need someone else or something else to take me beyond that ceiling. So that's from an individual perspective who wants to be mentored.
Yes.
And then from who can mentor, my first opening statements, anyone who is wise enough and is willing to do it. I think that's also key. You have to be willing to do it. I've met old men and women who are wise, who are wise, not old, who are wise, who I thought could mentor myself or people around me, but they had no time.
Okay, so in having said that, there's something important that you are saying with regards to identifying when you need a mentor or identifying when you can mentor. What should be happening inside you? Most of the time what I've seen is that people who are struggling and people who are in a point of difficulty become the ones that are saying, I need a mentor. Do I have to be at a difficult space?
No, not necessarily. I don't believe so. I believe you just have to be in a space where, like Nompumelelo mentioned, you want a light beyond yourself. So you need to be in a space where you know that you have come to a point where you need some guidance or someone to take you a step forward or a few steps forward in whatever you have identified within yourself. That is where you'd like to be or where you need to be or where you feel you are supposed to be. So it doesn't have to be a struggle. You could be blossoming in your life, but you could be looking and doing introspection and thinking, okay, everything is going perfectly, and I've done this and this and ticked everything off my list. But I'm at a point now where I feel that I could benefit from having someone now where I feel that I could benefit from having someone so that person can guide you I'm trying to teach you things that so that you can't learn in a classroom or that you feel that you haven't learned even you can't learn in a classroom or that you feel that you haven't learned even in your walks of life.
But I think that answers the point. How do I identify myself as a mentor? What has to be identify myself as one? That I can identify myself as a mentor. But while you're answering that question, I also want you to dive into this thing of saying, how do I identify the people I can and the ones I cannot? How do I identify the people I can and the ones I cannot mentor?
Look, who can breastfeed? Is a mother whose breast is ready to breastfeed.
Okay.
You know, whose breast is ready to breastfeed. I think that in mentoring, it's not only about your ability. It's not only about your ability. One of the most important thing is wisdom.
Yes.
One of when I differentiate wisdom from intelligence.
Yes.
When I say that intelligence is the ability to score your marks. Intelligence is the ability to get credits. But wisdom is the ability to make proper calculations in life. But wisdom is the ability to make. So you've got people who are intelligent, so you've got people who are intelligent, but you find that the person is taking foolish decisions in life. Is an intelligent lawyer. The person is taking foolish decisions in life. But is an intelligent lawyer.
Sounds familiar.
Come again?
Sounds familiar.
Why are you looking at me when you say that? So now, and when I define wisdom, I say wisdom is like life is like a cake. The taste of the cake is not in the availability of these ingredients. But it is in the measurements. You can have all of them here, but if they're not properly measured, it's going to be a challenge. So now, a mentor is someone that has got to be able to help you balance your life. That you have your spiritual life, that you have your family life, you've got the academic life. Because we have a challenge of people who are obsessed with one aspect of life and the other aspects of life are crumbling. So a mentor has got to be someone who's looking from a life point of view, not only from the career point of view, not only, if you look at South African soccer players and artists and overseas, you'll find that the manager is only focusing on making money out of the player. So that's why most of our talent is not reaching the global standards. But when you go overseas, there is someone who's looking at the entire, the soccer player's life, what they need. So that's what a wisdom, not just intelligentsia, but wisdom qualifies a mentor to be a mentor. What is the second question?
My second question was that how do you identify the person that you can and the one that you cannot mentor? Because I feel that Nompumelelo says I benefited from it. Somebody else might say that I did not benefit from it. It was a disaster from it. But they both maybe chose the same person, to mentor them. But the person themselves was not able to see that I can mentor Nompumelelo, but I can't mentor Nompumelelo.
All right. It's very interesting, the question, if ever we can just go into a biblical example or a theological example. When they talk about the issue of rabbis, they say that the Gamaliels and Jesus were the sort of rabbis who most of the masters who the students will choose that I want to go to that master because when I see that master, I feel that because she's going to be best. But the Gamaliels were the ones but the Gamaliels who chooses the disciples. So they don't only look at their intelligence. But attitude plays a big role in their intelligence. You look at the attitude plays a big role. You look at the appetite. You look at the attitude. You look at the mentorship. You look at the about attitude. Mentorship is all about you can have a good student, but you are a negative. You can have, then there will be no impartation. You can be the best mentor, but you have a student who's got a negative mentee, who's got a negative attitude, a negative mentee, who's got a negative attitude plays a big role in this relationship.
So attitude plays a big role. But what you are saying now is that in this relationship, so mentorship is a relationship, which means I can't just wake up in the morning and say, so-and-so should mentor me. Now, I want to come to the point now of saying, how do I then start to build a relationship with someone that I perceive as a relationship, or I see, or I believe that I want to have a mentorship relationship with them? Is it something that I can just go with? I've experienced it. I don't know about you. Is it something that I can just go with? Somebody just walks up to me and say, "Would you be my mentor?" And then when I look and ask, "What is your expectation? What are you wanting to do?" And ask, "What is your expectation? What are you?" In actual fact, they just love who you are. What is your expectation? What are you want to who you are? But how do you build that relationship to go towards the mentorship?
Are you asking in terms of the side of the mentee or the mentor?
The side of a mentee.
I feel like you start by identifying that particular person is where you would like to be or where you see yourself, or at least can have an input in having you get to where you'd like to be. And then how to build a relationship. is to make contact.
Okay.
I believe that you need to make contact. That's the first step.
Yeah.
And speak your mind, speak your heart. Let them know that this is who you are, this is what you'd like, this is where you'd like to go, and ask them if they are willing to mentor you. Because sometimes you find that the person is everything that you think you need, but that person doesn't have the heart for it. Is not willing to do that. Because I believe that a mentor, first of all, has to want to do it.
Yeah.
Has to want to. I feel like mentorship is giving back, or paying something forward, paying it forward.
Yes.
But not everyone has that in them. Not everyone would like to do that or sees themselves doing that. Some people get to where they are in their lives and they're comfortable like that. They don't want anyone else in their personal space.
Yeah.
So I think you have to, make the contact and actually make sure that that person is willing to do that for you.
Yeah.
Just to
What
chip
were the
in.
attributes of the mentor that you had that you benefited from?
And sure, and it was probably a bias from Ngisakula. I'd always gravitate towards males who are in business, forgetting that I need more than just business mentorship.
Okay.
From a male's perspective, growing up, never seeing any woman leading anything in the business field made me gravitate towards that. So there were strong male leaders who were assertive, but were Christian. And I think looking at the thread of the people that I've interacted with as mentors, they were all Christians, because we'd view at least parts of our lives the same way.
Yeah.
Even in Christianity, we'd disagree about a lot of things, but the base would be set that we believe this way. And then the fruits would then be perspective on business, looking at their experiences, and so on and so forth. But I just wanted to knock on what she said. What if you cannot find a person to actually be your mentor? I mean, surely human beings can't be the only place we go for mentorship. And I think that's where books then come in, that are written by human beings and not by robots. Books then come in. So not neglecting that human interaction where I'm able to ask a question and get an answer, be listened to where I'm able to ask a question and get an answer. Stuck in a book that's written by human beings, to guiding me where I'm able to ask their life experiences, learn through their own personal experiences. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd also like to touch on that, sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like even if you can't, because we're living in the age that we're living in where,
Yeah.
a lot of information is accessible. Even if you can't get or you don't want to get in where a mentor that you're going to interact with on a personal level. Like, for example, that you're going to interact. My son really, like, for example, 13, he really likes Elon Musk. He's 13. And I feel like he likes Elon Musk is sort of his mentor. I feel like he learns a lot from Elon Musk is sort of his mentor. Elon Musk, he learns a lot from even from when Elon Musk talks about his sons and his family and whatnot, he learns a lot. So you can call that also a mentor-mentee relationship. Even though Elon Musk is none the wiser, he's not even doesn't even know that my son exists. So once he's moved past that, he can also then move on to finding the next person that would he can also then move on his upbringing, his life, he's moved past where he wants to go. He can also then move on, interested in everything artificial. He can also then move on that. So I believe that in the age that we're living in, it's all of that. So to not have a human in the age that we're living in, it's or have someone who's even across the seas.
Yeah. I suppose
Have
because
someone who's
sometimes
even
human interaction can be so difficult.
Yes, very
You're shy to
Human
go up to
interaction
somebody,
can be
so difficult. Or they are far
You're
away,
shy
but
to
their
go
works
up
and
to
their
somebody.
books, and
Or they
everything
are
they're
far
not
away,
available,
but
but
their
their
works
works.
and
But
their
should
books
they
and-
then be there? What is the responsibility of a mentor to a mentorship relationship? And what is the responsibility of a mentee to a mentorship relationship?
Okay, I was interested in this part.
No,
I
you
have-
can delve into it.
Yeah, I have a bit of a different view, not so much different. I would say we can use those as more as like for inspiration.
Okay, yeah.
Because mentorship also has a way of dealing with attitudes, with your pride, with your ego, with your, So there's just certain things that you're not gonna get
You're
from
not
the
gonna
YouTube.
get,
You're not gonna
yeah.
get from those things that are making a person. Maybe they can make a business person, but those things that are making a person,
Yeah.
when the business is going down, A business person may not be able to handle that. Now you need a strong person
Person.
behind
Okay.
the business person. So it's important that you have that person who will deny you certain rights. That's why I used incubation. Because
Okay.
incubation is that stage where, you are denied
Yeah.
certain
Yeah,
rights, certain
that's
things,
true,
and you get frustrated, you get angry. So it grows your emotional intelligence.
well, yeah, and builds your character.
Yes, especially post-COVID, the kind of leaders that we're going to need are not qualified leaders so much, are not so much talented and gifted. But this post one is going to need emotional intelligence, strength,
Yes.
more than anything,
That's true.
because
Yeah.
we're carrying and leading totally different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So it's very important. So now, your role as number one, one of the biggest mistakes that mentors are making, it is thinking that the fact that you are a mentor, you own the monopoly of wisdom.
Okay.
You may know a lot, but it doesn't mean you know
know
everything.
everything.
Number two, it's very important that as a mentor, you must also be willing to be a mentee to your mentee.
Exactly.
Yes.
So a life of a mentor and a
Yes.
mentee must be a student and a teacher every day.
Yes.
If ever you believe that you are not going to learn anything from your mentees,
mentee,
then forget it.
yeah.
No, most definitely. I think that if we were to just round up the conversation that we've had, I think number one, we all agree that we need mentors. Mentors still have a role. So a young person out there that perhaps you don't have the parental backing in the family or or any other parts that you are existing in, you can still go and find a mentor who's able to not only look at the business person, but the person, not only a student, but the person, not only a mother, but a person. So in all of that, we can still then agree as a whole that mentorship is still very relevant, and it is one tool that young people can still use out there to succeed. Now, it is a responsibility of a mentor to be available, to avail their knowledge. It is a responsibility of a mentee to
be
be
teachable.
easily teachable and incubatable as well in that space. I want to thank you for coming to this discussion today and your input that is valuable, and I'm sure that we've touched somebody's life out there. This is World Gospel Impact Church, and that's where we live it for today. Follow us on all our social media space, and we can assure you that we will work super hard to get the content that is going to impact your life positively. Thank you.